Okay, this is my olive with a dash of walnut guitar, and it's really coming on. I've routed out all the bits on the guitar, got the controls fitted, the pickups ready to fit. I need to do a bit of work just to sort out these frets, tidy them up a bit, put a jack plate on, do some electronics and get it all ready for finishing. It's getting close, keep watching. I make these jack plates out of a strip of galvanised steel that I bought in a local DIY store, and I've just sort of polished it up at one end, and every so often I just cut a slice off. I've already cut this slice off, and I've already done a little bit of sanding with some fine grit paper on that side just to polish it up a bit. I'm not too worried on the inside. So what I need to do is obviously drill a hole in the middle there for the jack socket and 2 holes to attach the plate. I'm also going to round the corners a little bit so it's not too harsh. Then I'm going to be placing it on here, marking it up and chiseling out a recess for this plate to sit inside the guitar so it doesn't protrude outside the body. So I think what I'm going to do first is get that hole drilled. Okay, so the first punch that I banged in wasn't quite in the right place, so I've had to bang another one in, and so I've got 2 punch holes side by side, which is not ideal, but anyway, let's see if I can get this to go in to the right hole. That's looking reasonable. Let's go. Whoops, straight away it moves. See what we've got. Yeah, that looks okay. Okay, I'm just going to work up the sizes now. Okay, that's that done. Okay, let's see if it fits. Yeah, that's done, just needs a bit of polishing. Okay, I'm going to mark the holes for the machine heads. I've just put some tape to hold that template on the top there. And whoops, that's not very good, is it? Here we go. You may have spotted my deliberate mistake in that when I did the pilot holes I didn't go all the way through, so I've just had to go through again. As hard as you try with this wood, and this is ash, this bit of headstock here, it's hard not to have a bit of tear out. I mean, I've gone through both sides with the drill bit, but there's a bit of tear out there, but it's going to be underneath the machine head anyway, so that should be all right. I'll just tidy that up with a knife. Now I've got to do some fine sanding. Now you'll know that if you watched any of my great guitar build-off videos, I featured a band called Colours of One, a band that I'm very close to and have been for many years. And they've just released a brand new single called Haunts, and I'll put a link to the video up above there. But here's a clip of the track as I'm doing this sanding. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so now my guitars feature a preamp which boosts the signal from the piezo pickup under the bridge, and it also amplifies the two electric pickups as well to give them a crisper sound. And so to build that preamp I use this strip board, basically because I haven't sort of decided on the final design of the preamp, and at the moment I haven't got any facilities for making printed circuit boards. Anyway, this works pretty well. So what I do is I print out the circuit. I've got a little piece of software on the computer which I'll put a link to below, and this prints off a life-size component layout that I can then just stick on the back of this board, and it tells me where all the components go. Now to do that, what I do, I've got this little tool here which has got a 1mm drill in it, and I just push through a couple of the holes so I can line it up. And once I've got it lined up, I can then just use a pin, or perhaps I've got some capacitors here. I can use the legs of these capacitors just to keep it in place while I just put a bit of Pritt stick on the back and just glue it down. So that's what I'm just going to do now. Okay, let's get a bit of waste card. Oh, that's a bit sticky. Never mind. Okay, so what I need to do now is just line that up with these holes. And the beauty of Pritt is I can slide it around till I get it in the right position. So that looks like it's lined up. Let's just double check that. That's there. And that's there. Okay. Okay. Right, now the next thing I need to do is make holes where all the components are. So I've got, again, I use this little tool with a drill in, and it's quite good, and it's just a question of working your way across the board wherever there's a hole, just pushing that through, making a hole. Okay, so there we have it. Now I need to select all the components. Okay, so I've put together a little pick list. So these are all the components that I need. This is a blow up of the diagram of where the components sit on the board. I've also put the colour coding in for the resistors, so it makes it easier for me to find them in my box of bits. So here we are, we've got some okay, let's start here. What have we got? We need 22k, so 22k, which is red orange. Okay, we need 2 of those according to my list there. Now before I start soldering any components in, there's one more thing I need to do, and that is there's a couple of breaks on this circuit board. I've marked them with a couple of X's, so I just need to break the track on the other side. And to do that, what I do, I put a component through the strip that's going to be next to the one I need to break, and then I can just use this old drill, which is just an old prad point drill bit, just to work my way in and just to break that track. Okay, so I've got 2 breaks. They look pretty good. I will check it in a bit. Okay, the other thing I'll do, I'm going to put some of this flux pen onto the tracks just to rub it in. I find it easier to work on a foam board, so this is just a bit of plywood with some foam mounted on it. It just helps the components stay in place while I solder them. There are a couple of connecting wires, earth wires, which connect a couple between 2 strips, and I need to put those in first. I tend to work with the components that are the lowest profile first, and work up. That seems to be a lot easier to do that. Here we go, and it is quite small. This is quite a fiddle to see what I'm doing. Okay, so the first earth wire in place. Let's get that soldered in. Okay, I've sorted out the end of the soldering iron, and I've actually fitted all the wires, so now I'm going to just solder those in place. It's a little dab of solder. Okay, that's that. Okay, I've soldered up my circuit. Now I'm going to test it using my test harness. And this morning I've just spent a bit of time putting my test harness in a box. If you saw it in the Great Guitar Build Off, it was all a bit higgledy-piggledy bit. Anyway, it's a bit tidier now, so let's get wiring it all up. First of all, I'm going to test the piezo pickup. So what I need to do is, first of all, that's switched off. Need to attach the power. That goes, so that's the plus volts go on that peg, and the earth goes on that peg. Then I need the input to go to the acoustic in, which is that peg, and the output to go to the output from the preamp, which is that peg there. Okay, with all that wired in, I've got my guitar over here all ready to go. Select the piezo pickup, which is under the bridge there. This guitar doesn't have an amplifier in it, so it needs an external amplifier, so it's great to use as a test guitar. Okay, so now if I strum the guitar, let's put that on. Okay, so now if I strum the guitar, out of tune, but there we are. Now I'll just switch that off, unplug that, and rewire it so I can test the electric pickup side of this amp. Okay, so I'll select the electric pickup and again give it a good strum. What you can see from this is that the acoustic pickup, just going through a single stage, is a very low signal, which is why when I put the guitar together, I give the option to route the signal from the piezo through the first stage and through the second stage. Now obviously the electric pickups are a lot more powerful anyway, but gives you some idea of the differences between the two pickups. Anyway, that preamp is working, so now I'm going to move on to the next stage. Okay, to make things a little easier for myself, what I'm going to do, I've got this thin piece of wood which I've stuck this is, I think that's a bit of cherry, and this is a bit of walnut I've stuck on the top. Basically I'm going to mount the circuit board there, and then I'm going to mount the battery there, and then the whole thing will just fit into there, and I'll glue that wood to the inside of the guitar. But it gives me the option then of being able to remove this, because this is just screwed on there, and this circuit board is just going to be screwed onto that piece of wood at the back there. So I'm just going to mark up a couple of holes. I've drilled holes through this board in places where it won't affect the electronics in any way. That'll fit in there nicely. One thing that I always forget to do is to drill through from this cavity through into that cavity, and so I'm going to do that with this nice long drill through the jack socket hole. Let's try it. Not the sharpest of drills. Through. Okay, so I'm going to spray the body of the guitar with some of this two-part epoxy gloss finish. Now, if you watch my great guitar build off, you'll know that I forgot to filter this and had some problems. So this time I've got myself a filter set up. I need to pour 150 millilitres into this container and then add some hardener. So, without further ado, here we go. This could take a while. I'm going to mask off as much of the inside of the guitar as I can to avoid the lacquer clogging up all the holes. So, I'm going to get on with that quickly. Okay, so I've sprayed the neck and I've sprayed the body. I'm just going to leave them now. I've got the body in my drying cupboard. The neck is just sitting here. I'm going to leave the workshop so as not to create any dust, and we'll see what we have tomorrow. Bit of a delicate process this. This bit's obviously under the bridge, so it's not going to show. Okay, well that's the body done, so there's quite a bit of orange peel there which needs to be sanded out. Anyway, that's a job to do. Okay, so that's the neck done. That looks okay, so I'm going to put this to one side. Well, I got a lot of fiddly bits done in this video, and the guitar's coming along really nicely, so I'm going to call it a day now, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe and click the like button, and I'll see you soon.